Maybe you clicked this video without planning to. Maybe you were simply scrolling, searching for something, or looking for a little peace in a difficult moment. But remember something powerful: nothing reaches you except by the permission of Allah. Every moment, every encounter, every reminder that touches your heart happens with the knowledge of the one who knows what is hidden and what is visible. Perhaps Allah brought these words in front of you because He knows something about your heart that nobody else knows. There are struggles that people cannot see. There are moments when you sit alone and your heart feels heavy, but you do not know how to explain that feeling. You continue your daily life, you talk with others, you smile, you work, and you appear strong from the outside. But deep inside, there may be a silent pain that you have been carrying for a long time. A pain that you have never shared with anyone. A worry that you hide behind your smile. A sadness that only Allah knows. And this is one of the greatest comforts of believing in Allah: He knows you completely. Before you speak, He knows your words. Before you cry, He knows your tears. Before you ask, He knows your need. Allah knows the thoughts that pass through your mind, the fears that disturb your sleep, and the questions that remain inside your heart. You may feel that nobody understands what you are going through, but Allah has always known. Sometimes we search for comfort in many places. We look for people who can understand us. We look for things that can distract us from our worries. We look for temporary solutions that can make the heart feel better for a short time. But the heart was created with a need that only Allah can fulfill. The heart was created to know its Creator, to remember Him, and to find peace through closeness to Him. Allah tells us in the Quran that He is near. This closeness is not like the closeness of creation. Allah's knowledge surrounds everything. He hears every whispered dua. He sees every tear that falls when nobody is watching. He knows every struggle you face when you feel alone. His mercy reaches you even when you feel that you have moved far away from Him. Sometimes a reminder comes at exactly the moment when the heart needs it most. A single verse of the Quran can change the way a person sees their entire situation. A single sentence of guidance can bring hope back into a heart that was losing strength. This is because the Quran is not just a book to be read. The world often teaches us to depend only on ourselves, but Islam teaches us something deeper. We make effort, we take responsibility, and we work hard, but our hearts remain connected to Allah. Because true peace does not come from controlling everything around us. True peace comes from trusting the one who controls everything. If your heart feels tired today, do not ignore that feeling. Instead, use it as a sign to return to Allah. Open the Quran, make sincere dua, remember Him, and speak to Him with honesty. You do not need perfect words. Allah understands the language of your heart before you even express it. Remember, Allah is not far away. He is closer than anyone can imagine through His knowledge, His mercy, and His care. He knows your hidden pain, your silent prayers, and your deepest hopes. The reminder you are listening to today may be the beginning of a new connection with your Creator. So do not think you are here by coincidence. Do not think your heart reached this message without purpose. Perhaps Allah is reminding you that you are still loved, still guided, and still invited to come closer to Him. No matter what happened yesterday, today can be the beginning of returning to the one whose mercy is greater than all your mistakes. After opening your heart to this reminder, take a moment to think about something important. How many times have you felt that you were carrying your struggles alone? How many nights have passed where you looked fine in front of everyone, but when you were alone, your heart felt heavy? Maybe you have experienced moments where you wanted to talk, but you did not know who would truly understand. Maybe you feared that if people knew what was inside your heart, they would judge you or look at you differently. But Allah has always known. Before anyone understood your pain, Allah knew. Before anyone noticed your sadness, Allah saw it. Before anyone heard your worries, Allah heard the quiet whispers of your heart. This is the beauty of having a relationship with Allah. You do not need to explain every detail because Allah already knows what you cannot even put into words. Sometimes the greatest pain is not the difficulty itself. Sometimes the greatest pain is feeling forgotten while going through that difficulty. A person can handle many challenges when they know they are not alone. But when the heart begins to believe that nobody cares, the burden becomes heavier. This is why Allah repeatedly reminds us in the Quran that He is near, because the human heart needs to remember that it is never abandoned when maybe you have made mistakes that you think are too great to be forgiven. Maybe your past keeps coming back to your mind and makes you feel unworthy of Allah's mercy. But never allow Shaitan to convince you that you are too far from Allah. The door of repentance remains open. Allah's mercy is greater than your mistakes, and His forgiveness is greater than the sins you carry. One of the greatest signs of Allah's mercy is that He allows your heart to feel regret. When a person feels sadness over their mistakes and desires to return to Allah, that feeling itself can be a gift from Allah. A heart that wants to return is a heart that is still alive. The most dangerous state is not when a person falls, it is when a person stops caring about returning. Maybe this reminder is reaching you at a time when your faith feels weak. Maybe you feel distant from prayer, distant from the Quran, or distant from the peace you once felt. But remember, Allah does not ask you to become perfect before returning to Him. He asks you to take the first step. One sincere dua, one prayer, one verse of Quran, one moment of remembering Him can become the beginning of transformation. The journey back to Allah is not always a sudden change. Sometimes it happens slowly, through small steps that nobody else sees. A person begins by making a little more dua. They begin by speaking to Allah honestly. They begin by leaving one mistake. They begin by seeking forgiveness more often. And slowly, the heart that felt empty begins to feel alive again. Do not underestimate what Allah can do with a heart that turns back to Him. The same heart that was filled with sadness can become filled with peace. The same person who felt lost can become guided. The same person who felt broken can become stronger through faith. Allah can transform your situation in ways you never imagined. The world may tell you that your value comes from your success, your wealth, your appearance, or what people think about you. But Allah teaches you that your true value comes from your relationship with Him. You are a servant of the Most Merciful. You are someone Allah created with purpose. Your existence is not meaningless, and your struggles are not unnoticed. So if your heart has been carrying something heavy, place it before Allah. Speak to Him in the darkness of the night. Raise your hands and tell Him everything. Tell Him your fears, your regrets, your hopes, and your dreams. The one who created your heart knows exactly how to heal it. As we continue this reminder, remember this: Allah is not waiting for you to become perfect. Allah is inviting you to come closer. Every step you take toward Him is seen. Every tear you shed for His sake is known. Every sincere effort you make is valuable. You are never too lost to return, because the mercy of Allah is always greater than the distance you feel. There is something remarkable about the way Allah guides a person. Guidance does not always come through a dramatic moment that changes everything instantly. Sometimes guidance enters the heart quietly. Sometimes it comes through a verse of the Quran that suddenly feels like it was revealed for your situation. Sometimes it comes through a reminder you hear at the exact moment when your heart. Many people search for peace in temporary things. They think that if they achieve a certain goal, gain more wealth, receive approval from people, or reach a certain position, then their heart will finally become satisfied. But after achieving those things, many still feel an emptiness inside. This is because the heart was not created to be filled by the creation. It was created to be connected to the Creator. Allah says in Surah Ar-Ra'd, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah the hearts find rest." This verse teaches us a powerful reality. True peace is not found by controlling every situation around us. True peace is found when the heart knows that Allah is in control. When you remember Allah, you remind your heart that your problems have a Lord who is greater than them. Sometimes we ask Allah for a specific outcome, but Allah gives us something deeper first: closeness to Him. We ask for a door to open, but Allah gives us patience. We ask for a burden to be removed, but Allah gives us stronger faith. We ask for a change in our situation, but Allah changes our heart before changing our circumstances. Because the greatest gift is not always receiving what we want, sometimes the greatest gift is becoming closer to Allah. Look at the signs of Allah around you. The sky above you, the earth beneath your feet, the changing of night and day, the ability to breathe, the beating of your heart, and the countless blessings you experience every day. These are all reminders that you are not living without purpose. Every creation points toward the greatness of its Creator. When a person reflects deeply, they begin to see Allah's signs everywhere. But sometimes the greatest sign is not outside of us, it is inside our own hearts. The fact that you still want to return to Allah is itself a blessing. The fact that you still feel regret after mistakes is a sign of a heart that is alive. The fact that you are searching for answers and seeking peace shows that Allah has placed within you a desire to come closer to Him. There are moments when Allah guides us through experiences we do not understand. A disappointment may become the reason you make sincere dua. A hardship may become the reason you return to prayer. A loss may become the reason you discover that Allah is enough. At the time, we may only see the pain, but later we realize that Allah was guiding us through every step. Think about a person who is lost in darkness. They do not need someone to tell them how dark the darkness is. What they need is a light that shows them the path. The Quran is that light for the believer. It does not promise that life will have no difficulties, but it teaches us how to walk through difficulties while holding on to faith. Allah guides whom He wills, and one of the greatest ways a person receives guidance is by sincerely seeking it. A heart that asks Allah for guidance with honesty will not be ignored. When you say, "Ya Allah, show me the right," one of the greatest misunderstandings people have about hardship is thinking that difficulty means Allah has turned away from them. Many people believe that if they are facing problems, then perhaps Allah is unhappy with them or they have been forgotten. But the Quran teaches us a completely different reality. A test is not always a sign of rejection. Sometimes a test is a sign that Allah is raising a person, purifying their heart, and bringing them closer to Him. Think about the people who were most beloved to Allah. They were not people who lived lives without challenges. In fact, the prophets of Allah faced some of the greatest trials. They experienced loneliness, rejection, fear, loss, and pain. But their hardships did not mean Allah abandoned them. Their hardships showed the strength of their connection with Allah and the beauty of their patience. Allah tests those whom He loves because tests reveal what is inside the heart. They separate temporary feelings from true faith. When life is easy, many people remember Allah. But when difficulties come, the sincere believer continues to turn back to Him. A believer understands that even in the darkest moments, Allah's wisdom is greater than what the eyes can see. A test can remove things from our lives, but it can also give us things that we could never gain through comfort. Through hardship, a person can develop patience. Through hardship, a person can learn humility. Through hardship, a person can discover a level of dependence on Allah that they never experienced before. Look at the story of Prophet Ayyub. He was a servant whom Allah blessed with wealth, family, and good health. But Allah tested him with severe trials. He lost his possessions, he lost loved ones, and he suffered through illness for a long period of time. Imagine the weight of such difficulties. Imagine facing one hardship after another while remaining patient. Yet despite everything he lost, Prophet Ayyub never lost his connection with Allah. His body was tested, his situation was tested, and his patience was tested, but his heart remained attached to his Lord. He did not allow his suffering to turn him away from Allah. Instead, he turned toward Allah with humility and sincerity. When Prophet Ayyub called upon Allah, he did not complain with arrogance. He did not question Allah's wisdom. He simply expressed his weakness and placed his trust in his Creator. His dua was a beautiful example of humility. He acknowledged his pain while knowing that Allah's mercy was greater than his hardship. And what happened after that? Allah answered him. Allah removed his suffering and restored what he had lost. But the greatest lesson from the story of Ayyub is not only that Allah can remove difficulties. The deeper lesson is that a person can remain connected to Allah even while facing difficulties. The lesson is not that believers will never experience pain. The lesson is that believers never experience pain alone. Allah is with them through every moment. He hears the dua that nobody else hears. He knows the struggle that nobody else understands. He sees the tears that nobody else notices. So if you are facing a difficult chapter in your life, do not assume that Allah has forgotten you. Perhaps this moment is shaping you into a stronger believer. Perhaps this difficulty is removing something harmful from your life. Perhaps Allah is preparing you for something better than what you are asking for. Remember, a seed must be buried in darkness before it grows into something beautiful. A diamond is formed under pressure, and a believer's heart can become stronger through patience and reliance upon Allah. The hardship you are facing today may become the story you tell tomorrow about how Allah carried you through. Never lose hope. The same Allah who changed the situation of Ayyub can change your situation. The same Allah who rescued Yunus from darkness can bring light into your life. Your problem may be big, but Allah is greater. Your pain may be deep, but Allah's mercy is deeper. So hold on to Allah, keep making dua, keep turning back to Him. Even if you feel tired, take one more step toward Him. Because the one who tests you is also the one who can heal you, strengthen you, and bring you out of every difficulty with wisdom and mercy. There are moments in life when the heart becomes tired, not because we stop living, but because we carry things that are too heavy for us. We carry regrets from the past, worries about the future, and pain from situations that changed us. Sometimes the heart becomes wounded by things that people cannot see. A person may continue with the daily responsibilities, but inside they feel broken, exhausted, and distant from the peace they once had. But Allah, in His infinite mercy, did not leave humanity without a cure for the heart. He sent the Quran as a source of healing. The Quran is not only guidance for our actions, it is healing for our emotions, our fears, our sadness, and our spiritual wounds. When the heart feels lost, the words of Allah bring it back. When the soul feels empty, the remembrance of Allah fills it with hope. Allah tells us in the Quran that He sent down what is a healing and mercy for the believers. Notice the beauty of these words. Allah did not describe the Quran only as information or instruction. He described it as healing. Because Allah knows that human beings do not only struggle with physical problems. They struggle with fear, sadness, guilt, confusion, and weakness. And the Quran reaches the places inside the heart that nobody else can reach. Sometimes a person tries to heal their heart by forgetting their pain. They try to distract themselves, avoid thinking about their mistakes, or cover their sadness with temporary pleasures. But ignoring a wound does not heal it. A wound needs care and treatment. Sometimes a broken heart is actually the beginning of a beautiful relationship with Allah. When everything around you feels uncertain, you discover that Allah is the one who never changes. When people leave, Allah remains. When situations change, Allah remains. When the world feels unstable, Allah remains your source of comfort and strength. A heart that has experienced pain can become softer toward Allah. A person who has struggled can understand the value of mercy. A person who has cried in private can develop a deeper connection with the one who heard those tears. Sometimes Allah allows the heart to break from worldly attachments so it can become attached to Him. Think about how rain brings life to dry land. Before the rain comes, the earth may look empty and lifeless. But when Allah sends water, everything begins to grow again. In a similar way, the Quran brings life to hearts that feel spiritually dry. A heart that feels empty can become alive again through the words of Allah. The Quran reminds you that your story is not finished. Your past is not the end of your journey. The moments when you fell do not mean you cannot rise again. Allah is not asking you to look back and remain trapped in regret. He is calling you to look forward with hope and walk toward Him. Maybe you feel that your heart has become too damaged. Maybe you feel that you have made too many mistakes. Maybe you think the person you used to be is too far gone. But remember, Allah changed the lives of people who returned to Him sincerely. He transformed hearts, forgave sins, and opened new beginnings. The beauty of Islam is that every day gives you another opportunity to return. Every morning is a new chance. Every prayer is an opportunity to reconnect. Every verse of Quran is an invitation. Every moment of remembrance is a step closer to the one who created your heart. Do not wait until you feel perfect before coming back to Allah. Come back while you are struggling. Come back while you are healing. Come back while you still have questions and weaknesses. Allah does not require you to be perfect before He accepts you. He asks you to be sincere. So if your heart feels broken today, bring that broken heart to Allah. Tell Him your pain. Tell Him your fears. Tell Him the things you cannot tell anyone else. The same Allah who knows your hidden struggles also knows how to heal them. The Quran is a reminder that you are not abandoned. Your mistakes are not bigger than Allah's mercy. Your sadness is not bigger than Allah's ability to bring peace. Your past is not stronger than Allah's power to create a new beginning. Return to Allah with hope. Open the Quran with a heart that seeks healing. Make dua with sincerity, because the heart that turns back to Allah will always find a Lord who welcomes it with mercy. After understanding the mercy of Allah and the healing power of the Quran, the next question that comes into the heart is, how do I return to Allah? How do I rebuild the connection that I once had? How do I bring peace back into my heart? The answer is not found in one huge moment of change. The journey back to Allah often begins with small, sincere steps that are repeated with love and patience. Many people delay returning to Allah because they think they need to completely change overnight. They think they must become a perfect person before they can get closer to Him. But this is not how Allah asks us to return. Allah loves the servant who takes steps toward Him, even if those steps are small. A person who walks toward Allah sincerely will find Allah's mercy and guidance along the way. The first step in rebuilding your connection with Allah is prayer. Salah is not just an obligation, it is a conversation between you and your Creator. It is the moment when you leave the distractions of this world and stand before the one who knows you completely. Every time you raise your hands, every time you bow and place your forehead on the ground, you are reminding your heart that Allah is greater than every problem you face. Sometimes people see prayer only as a responsibility they have to complete. But prayer is actually a gift from Allah. Imagine having the opportunity 5 times a day to stand before the King of all creation and speak to Him directly. Imagine having a place where you can bring your worries, your fears, and your hopes without being judged. That place is Salah. If your heart feels distant from Allah, begin by protecting your prayers. Even if your focus is not perfect, continue. Even if your heart feels heavy, continue. Even if you feel that your faith is weak, continue. The act of returning itself is a sign that Allah is pulling your heart back toward Him. The second step is remembering Allah through dhikr. The heart becomes alive when it remembers its Creator. Just as the body needs food and water, the soul needs the remembrance of Allah. Without dhikr, the heart can become distracted by worries, desires, and the temporary concerns of this world. Dhikr does not require a special place or a perfect moment. You can remember Allah while walking, working, traveling, or sitting alone. Simple words like Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, and Astaghfirullah carry tremendous meaning. These words may seem small on your tongue, but they have a powerful effect on the heart. When you say, Astaghfirullah, you are not just asking for forgiveness. You are admitting your need for Allah's mercy. You are acknowledging that you are a servant who needs his Lord. This humility is one of the qualities that brings a person closer to Allah. The third step is reconnecting with the Quran. Many people feel distant from Allah because they have become distant from His words. The Quran is the message of Allah, and every time you open it, you are allowing guidance to enter your heart. Even if you read only a few verses every day, do not underestimate their impact. Do not measure your connection with the Quran only by how much you read. Also, the Prophet Muhammad taught that the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if they are small. This teaches us that spiritual growth is not about temporary emotional moments. It is about building a lasting relationship with Allah through continuous effort. Remember, the goal is not only to perform more actions. The goal is to bring your heart closer to Allah. A person can do many actions but still feel empty if the heart is disconnected. But a person who sincerely seeks Allah will find peace even in small acts of worship. Your journey with Allah is personal. Do not compare your path with someone else's. Some people return to Allah after a major life event. Others return slowly through quiet moments of reflection. What matters is that you keep moving toward Him. If you have been away from Allah for a long time, do not allow shame to stop you. Do not let the thought, "I should have returned earlier," prevent you from returning now. The best time to come back is the moment Allah opens your heart to come back. Every prayer you make, every verse you read, every time you remember Allah, you are rebuilding that connection. The heart that once felt empty can become full again. The heart that felt lost can find direction again. The heart that felt broken can find peace again. So begin today. Take one small step toward Allah. Pray one prayer with more presence. Read one verse with reflection. Make one sincere dua from your heart. Remember Allah in one quiet moment. These small steps can become the beginning of a beautiful journey back to your Creator. Because when a person returns to Allah, they are not returning to someone who rejects them. They are returning to the most merciful, the one who has always known their heart, the one who has always been waiting for them to turn back. There comes a moment in every person's life when they have to ask themselves a very important question: what is my heart truly attached to? What is the thing that gives me peace? What is the thing that controls my happiness? What is the thing I fear losing the most? These questions reveal something very deep about our hearts, because whatever the heart becomes attached to can either bring us closer to Allah or take us away from Him. Allah created the human heart with a natural desire to love, to seek comfort, and to find peace. But the problem begins when we search for permanent peace in temporary things. We expect people to complete us. We expect wealth to remove all our worries. We expect success to finally make us satisfied. We expect the world to give us the happiness that only Allah can give. But the dunya was never created to be our permanent home. It was created as a test, a journey, and a place where we prepare for something greater. When a person expects the dunya to give them everything, they will always feel disappointed. Because the dunya changes, people change, situations change, possessions come and go, but Allah remains the same. Many times, the reason our hearts feel heavy is because we are carrying things that were never meant to be carried forever. We carry the opinions of people. We carry fear about the future. We carry regret about the past. We carry the desire to control everything around us. But Allah never asked us to control everything. He asked us to trust Him. Look at how the human heart works. When a person becomes too attached to something temporary, the fear of losing it begins to control them. A person who depends only on wealth fears poverty. A person who depends only on people fears being abandoned. A person who depends only on their own ability fears failure. But the heart that depends on Allah finds stability because it depends on the one who never disappears. This does not mean we should leave the dunya or ignore our responsibilities. Islam does not teach us to abandon our work, our families, or our goals. Rather, Islam teaches us to place the dunya in our hands, not in our hearts. We use the blessings Allah gives us, but we do not allow those blessings to become our master. The heart should always know that every blessing comes from Allah and every blessing can return to Allah's command. When we understand this, we appreciate what we have without becoming destroyed by what we lose. We become grateful when Allah gives, and we remain patient when Allah tests us. Sometimes Allah removes something from our lives because our hearts became too attached to it. We may think we lost something valuable, but Allah may be protecting us from depending on something that could never truly satisfy us. A door closes, a relationship ends, a plan changes, and we feel pain. But later, we realize Allah was redirecting our hearts towards something better. Think about how a child holds on to something harmful because they do not understand its danger. When a parent removes it, the child may cry because they only see the loss. But the parent sees what the child cannot see. In a greater way, Allah's knowledge is beyond ours. Sometimes what feels like a loss is actually Allah's protection. A believer learns to say, Ya Allah, if this thing is good for my faith, my life, and my future, keep it for me. But if it takes me away from you, remove it from my heart. This is true surrender. It is trusting that Allah knows what we need better than we know ourselves. The Quran repeatedly reminds us that this world is temporary. The beauty, achievements, and struggles of this life will all pass. The things people chase endlessly today may become memories tomorrow, but the relationship you build with Allah is something that remains beyond this world. This is why true peace is not the absence of problems. True peace is knowing that your problems are in the hands of Allah. It is knowing that your future is not controlled by people. It is knowing that your worth does not depend on worldly success. It is knowing that Allah sees you, hears you, and cares for you. So ask yourself today, what has my heart been chasing? What has been taking most of my attention? Have I been seeking peace from things that can disappear? These questions are not meant to make us hopeless. They are meant to awaken us and bring our hearts back to Allah. If your heart feels tired from chasing the dunya, return to Allah. If your heart feels empty despite having many things, return to Allah. If your heart feels lost among the distractions of life, return to Allah. Because the heart was created to find its home with its Creator. The dunya can entertain you, but only Allah can give you peace. The dunya can distract you, but only Allah can heal you. The dunya can give temporary happiness, but only Allah can give lasting tranquility. So place your trust in Allah. Love the blessings He gives you, but love the one who gave them more. Hold on to the dunya lightly, but hold on to Allah with your entire heart. Because when the heart finds Allah, it finds what it was searching for all along. There are moments in life when the heart carries memories that are difficult to release. A person may move forward with their life, but a part of their heart remains stuck in the past. They remember what happened, what they lost, what they wished had been different, and the moments that caused them pain. Sometimes the hardest battles are not the ones we face outside, they are the battles we fight inside our own hearts. The past can become a heavy burden when we continue to carry it without giving it to Allah. We replay old mistakes, we remember painful words, we think about people who hurt us. We wonder why certain things happened. We ask questions that may never receive answers in this life. And slowly, the heart becomes exhausted because it is trying to carry something that only Allah can heal. But Allah does not want you to live as a prisoner of your past. Your past is a chapter of your story, but it is not the entire book. The mistakes you made, the pain you experienced, and the difficulties you faced do not have the power to decide your future. Allah has the power to transform your story in ways you cannot imagine. Many people look back at their past and only see their failures. They forget that Allah sees their repentance. They remember their weakness, but Allah sees their efforts to become better. They remember the moments they fell, but Allah sees every time they tried to stand again. This is the mercy of Allah. He does not judge you only by where you have been. He looks at where your heart is turning. A person who sincerely returns to Allah can become closer to Him than someone who never experienced struggle. Sometimes the person who has fallen and then returned knows the sweetness of Allah's mercy in a way others do not. Think about how a wound heals. A deep wound does not disappear instantly. It takes time, care, and patience. The same is true for emotional wounds. Healing is a process. Some days you feel strong, and some days old pain returns. But every time you turn back to Allah, you are taking another step toward healing. Do not become frustrated because healing takes time. Allah did not create hearts to heal instantly, and sometimes we are in our own, sometimes we are in a situation where we cannot see a way out. We wonder why Allah allowed certain things to happen. But the story of Yusuf reminds us that what looks like a setback may actually be Allah preparing the next chapter of your life. A delay from Allah is not a denial from Allah. Sometimes Allah delays something because He is protecting you. Sometimes He delays something because He is preparing you. Sometimes He delays something because He wants to give you something better than what you originally asked for. The believer learns to trust Allah even when the answer has not arrived yet. This is the meaning of tawakkul. It is not giving up. It is not becoming passive. It is doing your best while knowing that the final result belongs to Allah. Maybe you have been waiting for something for a long time. Maybe you have made dua repeatedly and wondered why nothing has changed. But remember, Allah hears every dua. Not a single sincere prayer is ignored. Even when the answer is delayed, Allah is still listening. Even when the path is unclear, Allah is still guiding. Sometimes Allah changes the situation around you. Sometimes Allah changes you before changing the situation. Because sometimes the greatest miracle is not what Allah gives you, it is the person Allah helps you become through the experience. The pain you survived has shaped you. The challenges you faced have taught you. The moments you thought would break you have shown you that Allah was stronger than everything you feared. Do not allow your past to make you hopeless. The same Allah who forgave those before you can forgive you. The same Allah who changed difficult situations before can change yours. The same Allah who brought light after darkness can bring peace after your pain. If your heart is still carrying something heavy, place it before Allah. Say, Ya Allah, I cannot carry this alone. Heal what I cannot heal. Remove what hurts me. Replace my sadness with something better. Give my heart peace through closeness to you. Remember that Allah does not waste the tears of His servants. He does not ignore the nights you struggled. He does not forget the moments when you chose patience instead of giving up. One day, you may look back at the pain you are experiencing today and understand why Allah allowed it. You may realize that the chapter you wanted to end was actually the chapter that brought you closer to Him. So do not lose hope because of what happened yesterday. Do not fear because of what you cannot see tomorrow. Trust Allah's timing, trust Allah's wisdom, trust Allah's mercy. Your story is still being written by the one who knows the ending. There is a condition of the heart that many people experience but do not always recognize. It is the feeling of being spiritually empty. A person may have everything they need in life, yet something inside still feels missing. They may laugh with others, continue their responsibilities, and appear completely fine, but deep inside they feel disconnected, distant, and unable to find the peace they once felt. This emptiness is not always a sign that a person has lost everything. Sometimes it is a sign that the heart is searching for what it was created for. The heart was created to know Allah, to remember Allah, and to find its comfort through closeness to Him. When the heart becomes distant from its Creator, it begins to feel a type of emptiness that nothing in this world can fully remove. Many people try to fill this emptiness with temporary things. They chase more success, more entertainment, more attention, and more worldly achievements. They think that if they reach the next goal, buy the next thing, or receive more approval from people, they will finally feel complete. But after a while, the same emptiness returns. This is because the heart is not asking for more of the dunya. The heart is asking for Allah. A person can have very little and still feel content when their heart is connected to Allah. And a person can have many blessings but still feel lost when their heart is far from Him. The difference is not always what a person owns. The difference is what the heart depends upon. Sometimes the heart becomes hard without us realizing it. Not because a person suddenly stops believing, but because life slowly fills the heart with distractions. We become busy with responsibilities. We become attached to worldly concerns. We delay prayer. We stop opening the Quran. We remember Allah less often. And slowly, the heart that once felt close begins to feel distant. But the mercy of Allah is that He always leaves the door open for us to return. A heart that has become distant can become close again. A heart that has become hard can become soft again. A person who has been away from Allah for years can return to Him in a single sincere moment. Allah is not looking for reasons to reject His servants. Allah is inviting them back with mercy. Think about the beauty of returning to Allah after being distant. When someone returns after being away, they appreciate the connection in a deeper way. They understand the value of guidance because they have felt what it is like to be lost. They understand the sweetness of worship because they have experienced spiritual emptiness. Sometimes Allah allows a person to feel a lack of peace so they search for the one who gives peace. Sometimes Allah allows the heart to feel uncomfortable with the dunya so it begins searching for the akhirah. This longing inside the heart can be a mercy from Allah, calling you back toward Him. One of the greatest signs of a living heart is that it feels the need to return. If you feel regret over becoming distant from Allah, do not see that regret as a punishment. See it as an invitation. Allah has placed in your heart the desire to come back, and that desire itself is a blessing. The Quran describes the believers as people whose hearts become soft when they remember Allah. This softness is not weakness. A soft heart is a heart that can recognize truth, feel compassion, seek forgiveness, and respond to the guidance of Allah. A hard heart may hear reminders and feel nothing. It may see blessings and forget the one who gave them. It may make mistakes and never feel the need to return. But a soft heart notices when it is distant and longs to come closer again. So how does the heart become soft? It begins with remembering Allah. It begins with moments of silence where you turn away from distractions and speak to your Creator. It begins with opening the Quran and allowing the words of Allah to reach your heart. It begins with sincere repentance and admitting, Ya Allah, I need you. Sometimes we think we need a special moment or a perfect environment to reconnect with Allah. But Allah is near wherever you are. You can return to Him while sitting alone in your room. You can make dua while tears are falling. You can ask for forgiveness while your heart feels broken. Allah does not require a perfect beginning. He only asks for sincerity. Remember the mercy of Allah when you think about your past. Do not let shame keep you away from Him. Shame that leads you back to Allah is beneficial, but shame that makes you give up is a trap. Allah wants you to return, not to remain trapped in regret. If you have missed prayers, return with the next prayer. If you have been away from the Quran, open it again. If your heart feels empty, increase your remembrance of Allah. Do not wait for the perfect moment, because every moment you turn toward Allah is a blessed moment. The journey back to Allah begins with one sincere step. Maybe your heart feels different from before. Maybe you remember a time when your faith was stronger. Maybe you wonder how you can feel that closeness again. But remember, the Allah who guided you before can guide you again. The Allah who softened your heart before can soften it again. Never think that your distance from Allah is greater than His mercy. Never think that your mistakes are greater than His forgiveness. Never think that your heart is too damaged for Allah to heal. Allah has brought you through every moment of your life until today. Every hardship, every blessing, every lesson, and every experience has been part of your journey toward Him. So return with hope, return with humility, return with sincerity, because the heart was created for Allah, and no matter how far it travels, it will never find true peace until it returns to Him. There is a moment in every person's life when they begin to realize that everything around them is temporary. The things we spend our entire lives chasing, worrying about, and holding on to will one day be left behind. The house we live in, the money we collect, the achievements we celebrate, and even the people we love will all eventually become part of our past. This realization is not meant to make us hopeless. It is meant to awaken our hearts and remind us of what truly lasts. Allah created this world with beauty, but He also created it with an ending. The dunya was never meant to be permanent. It was designed as a test, a place where we make choices, build our relationship with Allah, and prepare for the life that never ends. When a believer understands this reality, they begin to see the world differently. The problem is not that we enjoy the blessings of this life. Allah has allowed us to experience happiness, family, success, and countless blessings. The problem begins when we forget that these blessings are temporary gifts and start treating them as if they are permanent possessions. Many people spend their entire lives trying to build a perfect life in this world, but they forget to prepare for the life after death. They work hard for their careers, plan for their future, save for their families, and prepare for worldly goals, but sometimes they neglect the most important journey, the journey back to Allah. One day, everything we have collected will remain behind, but the deeds we sent forward will remain with us. The prayers we performed, the kindness we showed, the patience we practiced, the forgiveness we gave, and the moments when we remembered Allah will become treasures that never disappear. The Quran reminds us that the life of this world is only temporary enjoyment compared to the everlasting life of the hereafter. This does not mean we should hate the dunya. It means we should understand its place. The dunya is a road, not the destination. It is a journey, not the final home. Imagine a traveler who is passing through a beautiful city. They may enjoy the scenery. They may rest, eat, and appreciate what they see. But they do not build their entire life there because they know they are only passing through. The believer views this world in a similar way. We appreciate the blessings Allah gives us, but our hearts remain focused on the eternal home Allah has promised. Sometimes our sadness comes because we expect the dunya to be perfect. We expect no pain, no loss, no disappointment, and no hardship. But Allah never promised that this world would be free from difficulty. Instead, Allah promised something greater, that those who remain patient and connected to Him will find eternal reward. Every difficulty in this world has an end. Every sadness has an end. Every hardship has an end. But the mercy of Allah has no end. The blessings of Jannah are not temporary. The peace of the hereafter is not followed by another loss. The happiness Allah promises is beyond anything the human heart has experienced in this world. This is where true hope comes from. A believer does not place all hope in worldly outcomes. A believer hopes in Allah. If something is lost, Allah can replace it. If a door closes, Allah can open another. If a person experiences pain, Allah can reward them in ways they cannot imagine. The believer knows that nothing done for Allah is ever wasted. Think about the moments when you felt life was unfair. Think about the times you cried because something did not happen the way you wanted. Allah knows every one of those moments. Every tear, every sacrifice, every moment of patience is recorded. Nothing is forgotten by the one who is perfectly just. Sometimes we do not receive what we want in this world because Allah is saving something better for us in the next. Sometimes the reward we are waiting for is not meant for this temporary life. Sometimes Allah allows us to experience difficulty because He wants to elevate our position in the hereafter. The believer looks beyond the present moment. They understand that this life is only one chapter, while the Akhirah is the endless story. A person may struggle for years in this world, but if Allah grants them eternal peace, every hardship will feel small compared to the reward. This perspective changes the way we face life. We stop being destroyed by temporary losses. We stop allowing worldly problems to completely control our hearts. We still feel sadness because we are human, but we do not lose hope because we know Allah's promise is greater than our pain. The heart becomes stronger when it remembers that this world is not the final destination. The things that hurt us today will not last forever. The worries that keep us awake at night will eventually pass. But our connection with Allah can continue beyond this life. So ask yourself, what am I preparing for? Am I only building a life for this world, or am I preparing for the meeting with Allah? These questions are not meant to create fear. They are meant to bring clarity and purpose. Every day is an opportunity to send something ahead. Every prayer is an investment. Every act of kindness is a treasure. Every moment of patience is valuable. Every time you choose Allah over your desires, you are building something that will never disappear. The world may tell you that success is measured by what you have. But Allah teaches us that true success is measured by the condition of the heart and the deeds we carry with us. One day, this chapter of life will end. The struggles you are facing will become memories. The tears you cried will be replaced with joy. The questions you had will be answered. And the believer will realize that every moment Allah tested them was filled with wisdom. So do not let the temporary nature of this world make you hopeless. Let it make you focused. Let it remind you to hold on to Allah. Let it encourage you to prepare for the meeting with Him. Because the greatest thing you can gain in this life is not something you can hold in your hands. It is a heart that returns to Allah and a soul that is ready to meet Him. As we reach the final moments of this reminder, take a moment to look inside your heart. Remember the struggles you faced, the tears you hid, and the moments when you felt like nobody understood you. Allah knew every single moment. He knew the pain you could not explain, the prayers you could not put into words, and the battles you fought silently. Never think that you are forgotten. The one who created your heart knows exactly how to heal it. Maybe this reminder reached you today because Allah wanted you to remember that His mercy is greater than your mistakes, His plan is greater than your worries, and His love and guidance are always near. Ya Allah, fill our hearts with your light and peace. Ya Allah, remove our worries, forgive our sins, and bring us closer to you. Ya Allah, heal every broken heart, strengthen every weak soul, and guide us toward what pleases you. Help us make the Quran the source of our guidance and the remembrance of you the comfort of our hearts. If this reminder touched your heart, share it with someone who may need these words today. Like this video, subscribe for more reminders, and continue walking toward Allah, because the heart that returns to Allah will always find true peace. Ameen.